Access Music News. I'm Gina Vaccaro with All Access Music News, your All Access Pass to the world of live music. And I would like to welcome
Ben Wilson, a blues traveler, here at the Do-Si-Do. Are we allowed to say that?
Of course.
All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Here at the Do-Si-Do in Houston, ready to rock.
We are ready to rock, and we are so glad to have you here with us this afternoon and to give us a little. You've got some information about a new album that's coming out, right?
I have some information about a new album that's coming out. Well, there's a lot of talk about some new albums coming out, but we don't have anything necessarily, printed.
Tell us about the latest thing that's out there right now.
The latest thing that came out was something called Susie Cracks the Whip, and we did it with a guy named Sam Hollander as a producer who's he's now gone on to do some stuff with the Boys. He's got some he's a songwriter as well as a producer, and we just had a really great experience kind of working with him, making what I think is some of our most concise, kind of bridging the gap between sort of the pop sensibility of Blues Traveler and sort of the jammy sensibility of Blues Traveler, and all the while kind of showing off John's unbelievable talent singing and playing harmonica. I think he's an undervalued singer, and I think a lot of that comes out on this record.
It comes out. And what about your keyboard playing?
Well, I mean, come on. What do we need to talk about? It's
everything.
Awesome.
Of course.
No, it's we had it was one of those situations in the studio where everything just kind of flowed. There were a couple of hiccups, but things just kind of flowed, and then when you're in that position, when it's kind of rolling like that, you're not thinking, you're just playing. And I wasn't trying to do a lot. I wasn't like constantly like, I want to try to do this. It was more like we just wanted to be that's kind of what I mean with the jam element, just playing. And so just pulled out my organ and did an organ part, play a piano part, or whatever that needed to be there. And it just felt very natural and kind of almost live, and in the studio you're always gonna try to get things down just the way you want them to be, obviously, but you got to constantly cross way versus whether you're gonna take some of the energy out of something by trying to make it just right. You want some humanity in there too, and humans make mistakes, or they're not perfectly timed
artistic
up.
License.
Well, it's not just artistic license, because that sort of means you're kind of to me that means you're sort of trying to do something, and maybe you're taking a little license in order to try to do that. This is just kind of what makes, in my mind, what makes music so great is I go back and I listen to some of the old Motown stuff or something, and those parts that I was trying to figure out, you go back later and maybe you listen to an interview and the guy is talking about how that was a mistake. And you know what I mean? It didn't sound like a mistake to me, but it was obviously, it was a mistake, but the rest of the track was so great that they left it in there. And here, guys like me, 30, 40 years later, are sitting there trying to figure out what they did, and it's not what they meant to do.
Now,
so
let me ask you, I guess that's going to lead me to the next question. So everybody, when Run Around came out, everybody's like, oh wow, what a wonderful song. That's so cool, and oh wow. So what I'm asking you is do you know, was that song sort of something that happened? Do you know how that came to be?
I know John wrote it. I don't know exactly how it all came together, because I actually wasn't there. I wasn't in the band at the time.
Yeah.
I know that I know the story on Hook is he was kind of just humming it to himself, Pachelbel's Canon, and he started coming up with cool alterations to it. And he said right before he was writing that song, his brother had said, "You put too many damn words in your songs, and it's really irritating. I want you to chill out." And he turned around by writing Hook, which, if you know the end of the song where it goes really fast, there couldn't be more words in that many bars, unless even if you're Bruce Springsteen, I don't think you can fit that many words in there.
Yeah.
So, but I think I've talked to the guys, obviously, and we play that song every night, and we should. And they knew that it had the potential, but John actually originally wrote it much slower, and so the producers. That's where you kind of get into the whole, somebody wrote the song and came up with the chords and the melody and the words, but you often need just that little extra something from outside people, some objectivity to say, you know, that song would be much better faster, or that song would be much better slower. And Run Around was one of those examples.
So I'm going to when you came with the band. What were you doing before that?
I was a musician and a carpenter, and I was playing in kind of a regional blues band that toured kind of around the country, a little bit up in Canada, out of Michigan, and I grew up in Ann Arbor. And and I remember when I went to college in Michigan. I remember when I was there, blues, you know, you started hearing rumblings of this blues traveler. You know, what is this blues traveler? And they come and they play the frat parties. You're like, oh wow. And I was in a band at the time that was kind of doing that hippie jam thing too, but you know, we didn't have the kind of success. But you know, they played the frat parties. And then because they were from New York, and there was a huge contingent of New Yorkers that went to school in Michigan. And the next time they were at Rick's American Cafe, which was kind of the cool bar in town. And then the next time they were at the Michigan Theater. And then the next time they were doing 2 nights at the Hill Auditorium. And then the next time they were doing Horde out at, you know, and all the while, you know, you kind of watched them go up. And I was, you know, when that first record came out, just like anybody else, I was pretty pumped about it. But anyway, I was doing my thing, playing and, you know, just trying to get better and trying to, you know, stay in the game. I think a lot of times, if you don't get lucky and nail it young, if you stay in the game long enough, good things happen, and that's what happened to me.
So you have a lot of push, you have a lot of drive to be. That must be. I can just only imagine you're struggling along, or you're going along doing different things, and all of a sudden now you get to quit your day job.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
What was that like?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was, but it was almost like you spent. How old was I? I think I was 30 or 32 when I joined the band, and you know, but you go all that time where your days are spent up, and then all of a sudden they're free. There's a little bit of, it's awesome, but at the same time, it's a little transition into what am I doing with myself, you know? And it was, but obviously so grateful. And as long as this ride lasts, I'm happy to be on it.
It's still going. Well, we're really excited about the concert tonight and having you here. Where is your tour taking you after this?
At about 9 o'clock when we walk off stage, we'll have a nice little time together, and then I will retreat to the bus, where the bus in the next 4 hours will take me back home in Austin. We're going to be home for a couple of days.
Oh, so you're now in Austin?
Yes, I moved to Austin in 2002. I've been there for a while. I love it. Married, I got a kid of my own, a couple stepsons, and I'm eager to be home to see them for a few days. And then we end up playing at Antone's in Austin on Tuesday. So.
Antone's. That's Subway sandwiches. No.
Antone's?
Well, there is an Antone's, but
where?
Anyway, there is. It's here. It's like Italian food. It's
Clifford Antone, the man who started Antone's, the blues dude who was totally helped foster this wonderful blues, like the T-Birds, and you know, down in Austin, he's passed away now.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Well,
I
just
don't know.
Antone's Records, not Italian food.
No,
That's
it's not.
Get carried away.
There's
only one Antone's.
Okay, well, I guess there's
just so you know.
Anyway, well, it's a wrap. It is so nice to have you on All Access Music News.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's All Access Music News, your All Access pass to the world of live music.